Hello and welcome to the MySchool channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we're going to continue the government topic by topic video lesson. So we're moving on to a new topic titled Political Parties and Party Systems, where we're going to talk about the features and types of political parties and party systems that are practiced in various countries of the world. So please stay with us, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the MySchool channel. Like I said earlier, we're moving on to a new topic, political parties and party systems. So let's dive right into it. Alright, so here is a list of all we're going to be discussing in this video lesson. We're going to begin with the definition, characteristics and functions of political parties. We're also going to discuss the demerits of political parties, the various types of political parties that we have in different countries of the world. We're going to discuss the structure of a political party, the factors that determine the success of political parties, and the problems of political parties. Then we're going to move on to party systems. We're going to look at its definition, the various party systems along with their features, merits, and demerits. We're going to look at one-party, two-party, multi-party, and zero-party systems. And then we're going to look at the concept of party manifestos. So let's begin with the definition of political parties. All right, a political party is an organized group of people who share similar beliefs and goals involving political issues within the states, and who seek to influence and hold government positions through democratic means in order to carry their policies into effect. So first of all, they are an organized group of people. That means they have a hierarchy of leadership that helps to ensure that their goals are being met. And what is the goal of political party? The goal of political party is to influence and hold government positions. All right, so they are seeking to put their leaders, those people that they have given the mandates to represent their interests. They are going to help them to get into the position of authority. And that thing about political parties is that they share similar beliefs and goals. That means they have the same ideology. They stand by the same ideology. They have the same stance on the economic policies that should be implemented in the country. They have the same beliefs, the same goals about how the country should be run and the position the country should move towards. So this is what a political party is. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, so a political party is at least three things to its members and onlookers. First of all, it is a label. It is a label in the minds of its members and the wider public, especially the electorate. When we're talking about a label, what something represents, right? So a political party represents something. It stands for something. And so that's the label that a political party holds to the electorate and the members of the political party. It is also an organization that recruits and campaigns for candidates seeking election and selection into public political office. When we're talking about an organization, we're talking about a group that has a hierarchy of authority and they seek to achieve a particular goal. In this case, the goal of this organization is to recruit and campaign for candidates who would hold public office position. Then it is also a set of leaders who try to organize and control the legislative and executive branches of governments. All right, again, they look for candidates who will become leaders to represent them in these various arms of government. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, what are the characteristics of a political party? One of the characteristics is organization. Political parties have a structured framework with national, regional, and local levels of leadership. Again, there is a hierarchy of leadership, and they have branches everywhere. That is how an organization is run. They have branches in different parts of the country, and these branches also have a hierarchy of authority to ensure that their goals are being implemented in various parts of the country. So they also have membership and administration for coordination, communication, and strategic planning. And let's move on to other characteristics. We have manifesto. A manifesto is a formal document outlining a party's policies, goals, and plans if elected to power. So we're going to discuss the concept of party manifesto later on. But for now, it's a formal document outlining the policies that these political party intends to achieve when they get to power. It also outlines their goals and their plans. It informs voters about what the party stands for and how it intends to address these national issues if given the opportunity to do so. Now let's move on to other characteristics. Okay, we have contesting election. Political parties participate in elections to win political office. They field candidates for various positions, from local council seats to national parliamentary roles. So the goal of a political party is to contest in elections. Let's move on to another one. We have nomination. Nomination is the process by which a party selects its candidates for election. So this process can be competitive, involving primaries or internal party elections. So when it comes to nomination, it happens within a political party, within themselves. They try to elect someone who can adequately represent them when it comes to the national election, the local election, the state election. So the objective is to choose candidates who best represent the party's values and are likely to win elections. All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, another characteristics of a political party is campaigning. Campaigning involves all activities undertaken by a party to promote its candidates and policies to the electorate, and this can include rallies, debates, advertising, canvassing, and media appearances. So basically those things that a political party does in order to make themselves known to the electorate. Now let's move on to another characteristic. We have ideology. Ideology refers to the set of beliefs and principles that guide a party's policies and actions. We've talked about political ideologies. We've discussed the various political ideologies we have. We have capitalism, socialism, conservatism, liberalism, libertarianism, and the likes. So these ideologies can be adopted by a particular political party. So depending on what they intend to achieve when they get to power, they can hold a certain ideology and try to shape the party's stance on various issues, such as economic policy. So in terms of economic policy, they can be capitalist, they can be socialist, they can be communist in their stance. They can also discuss social justice issues, how they can react to the various inequalities in the society. They can also have a stance on foreign relations, how they should relate to other countries of the world. So all of these are the ideological stand, and each political party should have a stance on this particular issue. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, and that characteristic is congress and conferences. So these are formal gatherings of party members and leaders to discuss matters such as policy formulation, leadership elections, and the direction of the party, and they are held at regular intervals, such as every few years. So before an election, they usually hold conferences and congresses to ensure that everybody has a similar stance towards the issues that are going on in the country, to ensure that they have a united front, to show to the electorate when it is time for election. So this helps to bring them together as one. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, what are the functions of political party? One of the functions is that they provide unity. Political parties foster national unity by bringing together individuals and groups with diverse interests and backgrounds and providing a platform for collective action. So there are certain types of political parties that help to provide unity. They bring different groups that have differing opinions, and they bring them to sit together to negotiate how they can implement policies that can favor all these differing parties. So this is one of the functions of political party. They help to bring different groups together. They also serve as a link. Political parties act as a bridge between the government and the citizens. They convey the concerns and needs of the populace to the government and communicate government policies and programs to the people. So the political party helps to provide a link between the government and the people. Whenever there is a problem at the grassroots level, the people can communicate to those different branches at the local level, and then it gets higher up the hierarchy to the national level, so that those in power can actually listen to the voice of those at the grassroots. So they help to serve as a link between the citizens and the government. They also hold elected officials accountable. So through internal party mechanisms and public scrutiny, they ensure that representatives adhere to party principles and the public's expectation. So on the one hand, the political party in power continue to scrutinize the actions of the leaders in power to ensure that they continue to adhere to the policies, to the goals of the party. Then, on the other hand, the opposition party acts as a watchdog to ensure that elected officials are being held accountable. If they are not doing their job properly, they voice out their opinion on behalf of the masses to ensure that they continue to keep the leaders in line. So this is how a political party helps keep elected officials accountable. They also serve as a machinery for recruitment. So political parties identify, they recruit and promote individuals for public office. They serve as a talent pool that nurtures potential leaders and ensure a steady supply of capable candidates for election. So like I said earlier, they have different branches all around the nation, and they help to reach out to citizens at the grassroots level. So those people who want to become politicians, who want to lead the nation, they can start at the bottom and work their way up to the top through the political parties that we have in different parts of the nation. So this is how they serve as a machinery for recruitment. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, and that function is that they offer change of government. Political parties are fundamental to the democratic process of changing government. They provide a structured way to challenge and replace incumbent officials through election. So if a particular set of leaders are not doing their job, they are not performing the duties that have been assigned to them, the political party can become an avenue for a change of government. They can show that, okay, we have leaders who can actually do the job that has been assigned to these ones who are not doing their job properly. So when the next election cycle comes, they can help to present their stance on different national issues and help to bring these leaders into power, the right leaders into power. So this is how they can offer a change of government. They can also serve as opposition. When not in power, political parties play a crucial role in providing constructive opposition. They scrutinize the actions of the ruling party, offer alternative policies, and ensure that the interests of the electorate are represented. So, political parties serve as opposition. They serve as a watchdog to ensure that those leaders in power are actually performing their duties. If they are not performing their duties properly, they voice out their opinions, and they also represent the interests of the citizens, those citizens that are suffering as a result of the policies that have been implemented by those in power. So this is how they serve as an opposition. They also educate the public. Parties educate the electorate on political processes, civic responsibilities, and policy issues. So this helps to inform voters and encourage them to participate in the democratic process. So political parties also help to educate the public. They help to make them aware of the various national issues, the various policies that are being implemented by those in power. So this is how they help to ensure that the citizens are aware of the things that are going on in the nation. They also provide social welfare and humanitarian services. So political parties often engage in social welfare activities and address the needs of the disadvantaged citizens. Part of what they do with the funds that they accumulate over the years is to help to provide social welfare to the citizens. Those citizens that are impoverished, they help to lift them back up. This is one of the functions of political parties. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, what are the demerits of political parties? What are those things that make political parties ineffective sometimes in a particular society? One of them is waste of funds. Political parties often spend large sums of money on campaigns, advertisements, and electioneering activities, and this can lead to a significant waste of resources, especially when funds are used for extravagant rallies, media campaigns, and other non-essential expenses. Even sometimes, some of our leaders make use of government revenue to engage in rallies and campaigns for their political party. So this is a problem in a particular society. This is one of the demerits of political party. So there is also division of the country. Political parties can divide a country further by fostering a us versus them mentality. So this division is often along ethnic, religious, or regional lines, and the emphasis on party loyalty over national loyalty can also increase social tensions and hinder national cohesion. Some of the political parties we have here in Nigeria, in order to gain access to public office, can try to increase ethnic tension, religious tensions among the people. And so this is one of the demerits of political party. Also in the United States of America, you can see there is a division between the two major political parties in the United States. And this helps to creates further division in the society. It also prevents that spirit of negotiation that is needed to help to address various national issues going on in society. It creates that us versus them mentality, right, in that particular society. And that demerit is that nomination is not democratic. So in many cases, party leaders or elites have significant control over who gets nominated, and this undermines the fundamental principle of democracy. So all of these political parties, before they bring candidates to the limelight, to the forefront during elections, they hold nominations within their political party. And the candidates who they actually elect to represent that political party is not elected by this common citizen, the citizens who are supposed to choose the leaders of their choice. It is done by party members. And this is not democratic because Power rests in the hands of the people. But when you are selecting candidates within the party to represent the political party, it is not democratic because it is not the people who are voting for these candidates. Then another demerit is corruption. Political parties can be breeding grounds for corruption. The competition for political power often encourages corrupt practices such as vote buying, embezzlement of public funds, and manipulation of electoral processes. We've talked about how some leaders in power make use of public funds to fund their campaigns and rallies when the next election cycle comes. This is one of the demerits of political parties. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, and that demerit is appointments based on party leanings. So in many political systems, appointments to key positions in government and public institutions are often made based on party loyalty rather than merit. And this practice can lead to the appointment of unqualified individuals. The president in a particular country is responsible for appointing various public officials like judges, the chairman of public corporations, ministers in the various ministries in the country. And when they appoint these people based on whether or not they support their political party, it's no longer based on merit. So this can lead to the appointment of unqualified individuals into our courts, into our ministries, and into our various public corporations. And this can lead to the lack of development that we see in our society. And that demerit is apathy. So the perception of political parties as self-serving and corrupt can lead to voter apathy, where citizens lose faith in the political system and abstain from voting. So this makes it easier for parties to manipulate the system for their benefits. So when people see that these political parties that are coming out to represent the people's voices are actually self-serving, they do not represent the interests of the common people, they can choose to abstain from voting. And as a result of that, the leaders that are elected into power are unqualified and illegitimate because they have not been accepted by the people. It is not the people who voted them into power. It is not the majority of the people who voted them into power. And that demerits of political parties is party disloyalty. Within parties, there can be significant issues with disloyalty where members and leaders switch allegiances or betray party principles for personal gain, and this makes it difficult to implement long-term strategies and commitments. We've heard a lot about carpet crossing in our Nigerian society, where different politicians move from one political party to another. So this can affect their long-term strategies. Those policies that they intend to implement when they get into power are no longer implemented properly because different leaders are crossing from one political party to another. This can also hinder national development. And that demerit of political parties is the issue of neglect. Political parties may neglect critical issues that do not align with their immediate political interests. And this can result in the sidelining of important national challenges such as healthcare, education, and infrastructural developments. So some political parties may not put various sectors of the economy into their agenda, into their manifesto when they are contesting for public office. And this can lead to the issue of neglect. Some sectors of the economy may not be paid attention to by different leaders who are put in position of power. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, what are the types of political party? One of the types of political parties is the branch or mass parties. Branch or mass parties are large, inclusive parties that seek to attract a broad base of support from a broad range of people. So this particular political party, they usually do not have a particular ideology that they stand by. Rather, they try to ensure that they gather everybody from different interest groups together to vote for them. So they cut across tribes, interests, and individuals. Anyone is free to join this political party. So it is not elitist. It is not based on the interest group or the group that you find yourself in. They try to attract everybody within the society. They emphasize strong grassroots participation, and their local branches play an important role in the decision-making process. So, one of the benefits of this branch or mass parties is that they allow for grassroots participation. Everybody in the country is allowed to participate in this political party. And they have branches at various local levels of the nation. They usually adopt a broad and flexible ideological stance in order to appeal to a wide range of voters. Again, they do not have an ideological stand. They are not capitalist in nature or socialist in nature. They try to appeal to everybody within the society. Their program or manifestos are directed towards the welfare of the people. So they care about the masses, the common people, rather than certain groups of people within the society. Examples of branch or mass parties is the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress in Nigeria. So most of the political parties we have here in Nigeria are branch or mass parties. They are trying to accumulate as much support as possible from the masses, and they do not care about a particular ideological stance. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, and that type of political party is the caucus or elitist party. So these parties are made up of the upper class, high intellectuals in the society. They believe that the control of government should be their preserve. So most of these political parties ensure that those who belong to their party are qualified in terms of economic resources and in terms of intellectual capabilities. So they are elitist in nature. So these parties are elitist in nature. They restrict a large number of people from joining their political party. So membership is often restricted to influential and powerful individuals such as business leaders, intellectuals, or professionals. They are often seen as focusing more on presenting themselves as representatives of a particular elite or ideology, rather than actively implementing their policies or fulfilling the promise in their manifestos. So they really do not care about the policies or manifesto that they bring to the masses. What they care about is trying to satisfy the needs of a particular elite, a particular group of people in the society. They also have a particular ideological stance. They rely heavily on the resources and influence of their elite members to achieve their goals. So the reason why most of the time they win an election is because of the large amount of resources that they get from the elite members who try to get them into power. They also often have strong centralized leadership and decision-making processes. Rather than appealing to the grassroots, they try to have a strong centralized leadership to ensure that they try to get to that position of power. An example of the caucus or elitist party is the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, particularly in its early history. So, during the 19th and 20th century, the Conservative Party was primarily restricted to those people who have the economic resources and the intellectual capability to belong to that party. They do not care about the common masses. But things have changed in recent times. It is not as it used to be before, although some critics claim that this is still the case in our modern society. Now let's move on to another type of political party. We have religious parties. So these parties are guided by the religious doctrines existent in the country, and they often seek to implement policies in line with specific doctrines and values. So these parties are focused on religious values. Their platforms are heavily influenced by religious beliefs, and they often advocate for policies that reflect these laws. So they care more about their religious beliefs and how they can continue to ensure that this religion is going to continue to be practiced within that society. So they also draw significant support from religious communities and institutions, and their parties prioritize moral and ethical issues in their manifestos. So they try to ensure that those moral and ethical issues that are discussed in their religious beliefs continue to be implemented within the society. An example of a religious party is the Christian Democratic Union, the CDU in Germany. Now let's move on to another type. All right, we have broker parties. Broker parties, also known as catch-all parties, aim to mediate between various interest groups and build broad coalitions to achieve electoral success. So what they do is that they work towards bridging the gap between the rich and the poor and promoting equality and welfare of the people. You can see that there's a lot of similarity between the mass or branch parties and the broker parties. But the difference is that while the mass or branch party just try to ensure that they accumulate a broad range of people, the broker parties are doing something proactively. They are trying to bring different interest groups together and trying to negotiate how they can implement policies that favor all the interest groups within the community. So they are more proactive in their approach. They actually come out to seek unity among various interest groups within the society. So they aim to attract support from a wide range of social, economic, and political groups. They typically adopt moderate and pragmatic policies to appeal to a broad electorate. So their manifesto helps to implement pragmatic policies, realistic policies that can help to appeal to all the various interest groups within the society. They focus on building coalitions and alliances, often negotiating and compromising to include diverse interests. An example of broker party is the Democratic Party in the United States. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, and that type of political party is charismatic parties. Charismatic parties are centered around a charismatic leader whose personal appeal and leadership styles significantly influence the party's identity and success. So this particular party focuses on the leader who's representing the political party rather than the ideology or the goals of that political party. So the party's identity and success are closely tied to the charisma and popularity of its leader, of the party leader. The leader's personal appeal and ability to connect with the electorate are central to the party's strategy. And these parties often adopt populist rhetoric, emphasizing direct connection between the leader and the people. You can see an example is that of Adolf Hitler with the National Socialist Party in Germany in the 20th century. He was the leader of the party, and the people of Germany actually adopted his rhetoric at that time. So he was more of a charismatic leader, and this is why the party was a charismatic party at that time. They often have visionary and ambitious goals driven by the leader's personal agenda and vision for the country. So it is the vision of the leader that is the manifesto for that party. It is the goal of the leader that is going to be implemented as policies when that leader gets into power. Examples of charismatic party here in Nigeria is the Northern People's Congress, NPC, because of Sir Ahmadu Bello, and the Action Group, AG, because of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So these parties were there in the First Republic of Nigeria. And that example, a more modern example, is the Labour Party, which as a result of Peter Obi is beginning to gain national popularity. So we've come to the end of this segment. If you would like to continue with us, please go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to my school website where you can subscribe for the government topic by topic video lesson. There you can continue on this journey with us. So we're going to be moving on to the structure of political parties. We're going to discuss that hierarchy that we talked about earlier. Then we're also going to discuss the various party systems we have. We have the one-party system, the two-party system, the multi-party system, and the zero-party system. We're going to discuss their features, merits, and demerits. So I hope to see you there. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.